Hello, we're back.
Welcome back.
Now, what could we do to do the next episode after Sarah has been on that would still be epic?
It's got to be pretty big.
It's got to be good. Maybe we should invite somebody else back.
I think so. I think that's a good idea.
Okay, maybe we should talk about fusion weddings.
Sounds a plan.
Maybe we've already planned this all and he's sat right in front of us.
Maybe.
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding and welcome,
The Unfiltered Bride Podcast. Tips from the top table and beyond.
so you know it's going to be juicy. Today's episode is sponsored by Rubbish Portraits.
Rubbish Portraits is a live portrait booth, and in just 3 minutes, illustrator Lucie Sheridan will draw your portrait and provide you with a great gift to take away.
Lucie's booth is miles apart from your typical photo booth. It's far more unique and provides fun chats and good times.
Think of it as an analogue photo booth, but remember, no smiling, because Lucie can't draw teeth.
These aren't caricatures though. She's not one to offend. They're simply nice black and white portraits.
It's such a fantastic setup, a real conversation starter, and a nice time filler during your drink reception or turnaround.
2-time Hitched Award winner, totally unique and hours of fun. Go and check out Rubbish Portraits now.
We've popped all of her information in the details below. So, we have with us event planner to the stars, Raj. Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome to you guys too.
Thanks
Thank you for having me.
No, it's a
This
pleasure.
is amazing.
I know, it's good. I feel like our podcast studio may not be quite as extravagant as some of the events that you do. But if you can bear with us, we might still have a good time.
Look beyond it. Just look at us.
So we'll start at the start, I think.
Yeah.
Tell us about you. Tell us what we need to know about you.
Yeah, so I started off as a systems analyst.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Sounds
I loved
sounds interesting.
computing. and then eventually my mother used to own shops and stuff like we all did back in the day. And she started doing helium-filled balloons, and then she started doing flowers, and then she started doing more and more like decorations for weddings. And then I sort of left where I was in education because I was helping her with the shops and stuff, and started helping her out the weekends doing these weddings, although we had 3 other shops to run. And then with this whole wedding thing started going bigger and bigger, and actually took over the shops in the end.
Okay.
So the shops went, and then we set up a flower and helium-filled balloon business called Choisir and Ballon.
So the line, isn't it, that when you go to university and do an event management degree, they will sit in a room and go, who thinks this course is about blowing up balloons?
But you started with balloons, didn't you?
No.
You had a balloon arm.
Yeah. During COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. People are like, oh no, it's not just balloons. But actually, in your case, it started
It
just
started
with balloons.
with helium-filled balloons. Yeah.
And that's how you do extravagant events, by starting with balloons.
Yeah.
Heard
So-
it here first.
Carry on. How did you get from flowers and balloons to...
So what happened is that we started doing flowers and balloons for lots of Jewish events and a lot of English events because we're from North Manchester.
Yeah.
So the whole of our crowd there is sort of Jewish and English. There wasn't very many sort of Asians around there.
Yeah.
And then as we went through that, we started getting more and more Asian weddings in Manchester. And then we found out that Asian weddings didn't have like 7 tables or 8 tables, which was fab. They had
Yeah.
50 tables
Yes.
and 100 tables. We're like, that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, bingo, let's go after the Asian wedding market. And me and my mum had no clue about Asian weddings
Yeah.
at all. So then, a few years on, we started doing some more Asian weddings, decorating them. And then mum got asked to do loads of different things like mandaps and cars and can you get as a caterer, da-da-da. So in 1991, she set up Payal Function Organisers. And Payal is the wedding anklet that all brides wear.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, so 1991, we set up Payal Function Organisers. And then we realised that all our weddings were going from community centres into hotels at the time. And the hotels had no idea how to deal with 500 people or 1,000 people running around on a Sunday.
Yes.
But
I'm
they
not
were-
sure they still do, actually. I'm not sure they do.
So mum decided to go and speak to them and said, look, we're Asian wedding planners. Like, we can organise these weddings for you. Give us 250 quid a go and we'll look after it for you. She ended up locking up sort of Liverpool, Leeds and Manchester. So
Wow.
the whole of the Northwest, every single hotel that was going to have an Asian wedding then had to go through Mrs. Somaiya.
Nice.
Went through Payal. That was 93, 94, 95. And then really it sort of moved on a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we started going into that. We sort of zoomed forward to the 2000s. We thought we'd go into food because the catering that was being delivered to all the Asian weddings wasn't great. And we were very Western driven. I born sort of bred here.
Yeah.
I've been
I feel
brought
like
up
it's
very
hard to
Western.
get the balance between having the Western service and like speed and things like that, and the culture part of it from Western weddings, but still being able to have Asian weddings. So I think you nailed it.
It was really hard. So it was like, me and my mum, we decided to employ like English general managers from Sodexo and stuff. One of the guys was on the TV program with Martin. He was with my mum from the mid 90s, and he taught her how to deliver food, how we run an event. So our Asian events that were happening, or Asian weddings, were very Western driven.
Yeah.
And then we tried to change food and the caterers wouldn't have it. So we set up a catering company, and then florists, and most of our team were non-Asian at the time, to be fair, because we were dealing with a lot of Jewish events and things as well. So we accelerated that. We set up a catering company. So we had Pile Catering and Event Management at this time. Zoomed along with that. The catering company became very popular across the country. We started going into Europe, doing destination stuff. And then really when the show came out, The Big Fat Asian Wedding in 2015, that's when me and Sheeta, my wife, said, we're done with the food side really, and people are not recognizing us as like event designers and event management. It's more catering now, and the whole company's become a catering company. And
I feel like caterers don't get a huge amount of
credit
because you're normally in a venue and people are like, oh, the venue was good. And it's like, no. They were different things.
Yes.
The catering is a whole other thing.
Yeah, it is.
Well, we both started our career in catering. In wedding and event catering. And it's tough. So you can do catering, you can do anything.
Yeah,
honestly, so it's disgusting, like dirty.
Back of house is a nightmare.
House, it's just
no thanks.
That is not the dream wedding planner, is it? In catering.
And your food tastings, how hard are the food tastings? And you're sat there going, I'm not sure about that piece of cabbage, and that carrot looks a bit off.
Yeah,
like, really don't give a shit.
Yeah, I really don't give a shit. It'll be fine on the day, but how do you keep telling them that? How many times do you have to tell them? Like, it's going to be fine on the day. Like, do you know who we are? Like, don't worry, we're going to deliver for you. Like, shoot yourself there, honestly.
Love it.
Oh, no more food tastings for me, thanks.
Yeah, so you're done with catering.
I'm done with catering.
Nice.
So then me and Sheeta went, you know what, Mum, you crack on with your Payal brand. You're loving it. It's doing very well. She got an achievement award, blah, blah, blah. She's smashing. She was the first Asian wedding planner in probably the country.
Yeah.
And then we did Big Fat Asian Wedding, realised we wanted to sort of move on with our event side and not food. And then we set up Silver Fox Events.
Yeah.
Was that named after you and your hair?
For anyone who's not watching, head over to YouTube right now and watch it instead.
that was the question I wanted to save.
That was your only question.
Right there.
It was actually from a nightclub.
Oh.
And there used to be a nightclub, which is now owned by my friends in Manchester, called the Circle Club. So when everyone finished their events really like 2-3 in the morning at the Hilton or whatever, we'd all go down to the Circle Club at like 2 in the morning.
Nice.
It closes at 4.
Nice.
No one's allowed in after 1. And the bouncer at the door would ring downstairs and, the Silver Fox is at the door.
Oh,
and I'd get in and go and get
it.
absolutely trashed.
Love it.
That's where Silver Fox came from, yeah.
Nice.
I didn't realise everyone with grey hair is called Silver Fox.
You got it first. You're all right.
Whatevs.
So after you've been clubbing, you then go back to it, and then you started your business doing that. So what do you do?
So even with our Payal brand, we just went up and up and up with levels, so say we had 50 hotel contracts at the time in 94, 95. When Sheetal got involved, she's from London, PR marketing, we got married, blah, blah, blah. We started streamlining it.
She was in PR and marketing. It was part of the business plan.
No, I chased her for months.
Did you?
Oh my God, she's too cool for school.
Oh, I love that.
So she's creative. She's like too cool. Never going to marry a brown person. Like out clubbing in Ibiza. Nice. Literally had to hunt her and drag her down to marry her. Got there in the
romantic.
end. I know, yeah. I got married. And then, so we started pushing. So we got rid of like lower end hotels with no disrespect to anyone and started going into like more expensive places like Blenheim Palace and this, that and the other, and stately homes and marquees and things. So we were pushing the Payal brand higher and higher and higher anyway. So when we were at Silver Fox, it was like we were already benchmarked like a Payal prestige brand.
Yeah.
That's what we sort of set it up as, and then went to Silver Fox. So we only wanted to do high level, sort of high, what's the right word is, what's the right word? It's not like, they're big budget weddings, but also more complicated.
Okay,
So we want a glass marquee, an orangery. Yeah, we want a pre-plate food. We want a band from Paris. They wanted complicated things in their event, right? Mm-hmm. So we're like, we can do this for you. And then we went into that brand in that way then. So we really set ourselves quite high in our Asian wedding market at the time.
Yeah.
But then we were also doing like bar mitzvahs at that point. We were also doing, 50th birthday parties, anniversaries. Anyone who really wanted to party was going to book us.
Yeah.
Because we're great at partying ourselves, and we're great at creating a party too. Yeah. So it became really 2014-15. There was another sort of like phenomenon that happened, which was the destination wedding market.
Yeah.
It was flying.
Yeah.
So our inquiries are coming in from Tuscany, which was the first wave came in from sort of Italy, with loads of weddings and things. So we started going out to Italy then, doing destination. Then we ended up doing destination really from 15 all the way to COVID.
Okay,
So me and Sheetal probably stayed out of the country for the next 4 years.
Wow.
Like India, Dubai, Capri, Ibiza. Obviously doing some UK stuff also, but it was really big for us to go abroad and start doing these amazing weddings, parties, events, everything. So then the brand itself sort of carved out a really new niche across the planet, where we were like, we're getting these fantastic people who knew we'd traded for 25 years, who could see the TV program, realize that we're good for it, and we will definitely, that we're like a safe train really. So if you book Silver Fox events, you're going to spend X amount of money on a destination wedding, you're going to be totally fine. It's going to be good, but you're safe, you're in safe hands. We're still going to deliver. Yeah. Right? The food's going to be hot, drinks are going to be cold, all the fundamentals are going to be in place, although we're going to have fantastic trees and Paris bands and all the rest of it. So it was very solid, our business, with the way we operated, and we put that across.
The fundamentals are so important as well. I think so many couples forget. Yeah. They want the biggest and the best, and they want to keep going, which is great. But if you don't have that, you're more the...
So between the two of us, I'm logistic. So I do planning. Beth does styling. I'm logistics. Food has to be hot. Drinks have to be cold. Beth is. But how do we make the food look pretty? How do we make the drinks table look good? So like, I feel like, but the thing we do agree on is you've got to nail. People are going to go away from your wedding and either be hungry or thirsty, and then you've ruined the whole thing. Doesn't matter where the band was from at that point.
They're not interested.
But I'm guessing you're trying to nail all of it.
Yeah, well, Sheetal sort of takes that creative role, really. So where Beth is now is where Sheetal is, really, like, how do we make this better? But me and you are our concrete pillars. Yeah. We're building a solid concrete floor here, not a sand floor.
Prop your flowers on.
Otherwise they're going to sink straight through.
Yeah, fair.
And it's
you
so
need both.
true.
You need both.
You do. There's nothing worse than people coming out of a wedding saying, okay, it looked fabulous, but I couldn't get a drink. Yeah. Food was cold.
I'm starving.
I'm starving. I'm going to the local chippy to get a bun on the way home. It's like so annoying. So it's like you want to make sure that they come out of that event that they've really enjoyed it and they've been fed and watered correctly. Yeah. Because if they haven't, they'll just complain about it.
We went to an event. I'm not going to say it on the podcast, but we went to an amazing event actually. The entertainment, like everything was spot on. But the bars,
you just
couldn't get a drink. And you just felt yourself being like, just want to get a drink. Just need a drink.
We're all here for a big party. I can't party sober.
Yeah, literally. And it was just like, no matter what was in that room, it all just got shadowed by the fact that...
And when it comes to buying... this isn't a wedding, but after being like, do we want to go to there again? Because if we do go, we're going to have to put a bottle of something in our bag and stuff. Because you just don't... And that's such a sad thing for, especially weddings, to be like, oh, you can't redo that.
No, it's so annoying. Oh my God, that's so annoying. And we say this all the time, like when you walk into these fabulous events and they look superb, but then if you can't go and get like a gin and tonic, what's the point?
Yeah. No. It's just rather be at a rubbish one that looks shit and get free drinks.
Absolutely, yeah. Like everything looks party, great when you piss.
Oh my God, those fake flowers look amazing. So what are you kind of doing now? Like, how many people are in your team? Because I feel like you're not planning. How many weddings and events do you do a year?
So COVID trashed our business.
Yes.
Totally. So it was just refund after refund. And then so we then sold the Payal brand.
Yeah.
My mother passed away in 2017. So 18 and 19, we tried to run the Payal brand again with the Silver Fox brand. It wasn't happening. We were just burning cash.
Only your mum could do that.
Right?
Yeah.
So she took that with her. Yeah. So then in 19, I sold it to one of my best friends who used to know my mum really well. So he took the Payal brand on and continued with it. And then we were just Silver Fox events then during COVID. Yeah. And we started rebuilding what we wanted to do again. And what we decided is that we're only going to take on maybe 10 or 12 projects in the year, but really good stuff. Yeah. Nice. And even if we're skint and we have no money, we're not taking a project on that we don't want to do.
Fair.
Yeah. We like the bride and groom. We love the project. The money's right. We want to deliver upon it. They trust us to death. Yeah. We're going to go and deliver on it. if they start questioning things like, oh, how many waitresses do you have for 30 people, for 300 table or whatever. If they start questioning certain things that they don't understand where we've come from, then we're like, this is going to be a troublesome party.
Funny. I literally did a video on this of like, trust your suppliers. And I'm like, you booked me.
Yeah.
I didn't make you book anything.
No.
You've booked me, and therefore you have to just fully... If they're booking you, they need to be like, there you go.
Yeah,
cool.
Totally
Thank
agree.
You.
Yeah, they need to, otherwise the whole thing becomes a mess. And you and I know over the years of weddings that we've had some terrible times with people and lost money on it and ended up in arguments and not delivering upon what we promised.
And that's nobody wants that.
No,
sometimes
we don't want it.
You can spot them a mile off. Like if you're like, we're in a very similar situation now where we had to pump out the weddings to get the brand out there, to get our name out there, get the cash flow going. Now we've said 2025, we're dropping it to like 15 to 20 big ones. Do what we enjoy and just do them really bloody well. Like and not split ourselves too thin. Like we just want to do it well.
Yeah.
And that pre-qualification is so important. Like when you're speaking to a supplier initially, if you come across a dick, we can say no, we don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
And
you can
versa.
say that.
Yeah, like vice versa. If couples don't click, don't book that person.
It's a two-way relationship. We put so much time and energy into you.
Yeah.
You put so much time and energy into us. It has to work both ways.
Yeah.
And sometimes from the outset, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have took that one.
Yeah.
Those red flags there.
But you can only learn, can't you? You can only, you don't, like these young planners that are coming up at the minute and they're sort of nipping into some of our business, for example. It's like, let them crack on, but they're actually ruining people's weddings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're trying to do something and deliver upon something where they can't. No.
You've done a wedding course online. It doesn't make you a wedding planner.
No, it doesn't.
You have to have your hands in slops buckets in a catering background.
Go and work for someone.
Yeah.
Do some work experience. I lecture at Manchester University to all the event planners, and I've only started doing it over the last sort of 2 years. And there's like 500 students there, and they're all chatting about this, that, and the other. And I said, listen, guys, I know you sat there looking at pieces of paper about how to run an event. Come and work with me instead.
Yeah.
Come and do an event with me. Come back of house. Come and it's not clipboard stuff.
No.
It's like it's what they show on the TV. Also, they don't show the shit.
It's so honestly, it's so unglamorous.
Yeah, isn't it? We make it look good, but we don't look good doing it.
No,
we don't.
I literally left a wedding the other day, and I looked like I'd been hit by a car. And I was like, this is not. It's people like J-Lo that have ruined the industry that are like, people are like, do you wear a headset? And I'm like, who the fuck am I talking to? I'm like, what, speaking to the bride on it? Like, it doesn't happen.
So there is this glamorous thing that goes on with wedding planning, but obviously, we know there isn't that real job role.
And I think the show that you're doing shows that from what we've heard.
Don't go on to the show yet. We're not there yet, Beth. Chill out.
But Raj is a nasty one apparently on the show.
I know. I can't wait to hear.
Apparently, you're the bad one.
You're the bad one. That
no, I'm not the bad one.
Yeah, but
you're
the
equally
planner.
as bad.
Yeah, I know. This is.
Right?
I feel you.
You'd be there. You'd be like, oh, you take it.
Why are you sitting down? Get up. There's something to do. Go and untuck those chairs from the cloth. No, I want to. Before we go on to finish. Tell us more about after COVID. We cut you off from COVID. So COVID went to shit.
COVID shit, and then we got rid of the Payal brand, which was fine. It was a bit of an emotional thing, but it was done. And then me and Sheetal started rebuilding. And then last year we had one of the most amazing years for Silver Fox events.
Nice.
We got back into Paris. We did some amazing stuff at the Ritz. We did our best event so far in 30 years.
Wow.
Was at the Garnier, the Opera Garnier in Paris, 50th birthday party, 2-day event. And like to go in there and actually book it.
Yeah.
Your client has to be at a certain stature. They don't do events there very
Can you
regularly.
Tell us the budget?
No.
Why?
No.
Don't be boring.
No. And then it was insane. It was in the paper anyway. Just Google it. And then put it this way: we had Liam Gallagher there as the after party.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Proper smashed it out.
Yeah.
So to put it into context for the listeners, average budget. I know it's really hard to say, but to kind of show the scale of events you do, what would you kind of say your average budget for your clients are?
See, it's
Everyone
really
goes quiet when we talk about money.
I know. I'll try and put it out there, but it's really difficult because when you're doing these bar mitzvahs, for example, they could range. They sort of a good bar mitzvah maybe goes in sort of 70 grand and then goes upwards like 150, and then you're around that ballpark. Yes, you could do a great bar mitzvah for 30, 40 grand, but if you're going into the Rosewood and you're putting production in and lighting and this, and they got a band who's 20 grand, you're into 70 to 100 grand straight away.
Yeah. Yep.
So bar mitzvahs are there, and if you're looking at sort of like parties, it's unlimited.
Yeah.
Because some of the entrepreneurs that we work with across the planet just want to totally smash it out.
Yeah.
And they all want to top each other, don't they? It's like,
yeah,
baby.
baby.
Social media.
I got no problem with that at all. You
I'd
keep
accidentally
topping
put something on and be like, oh my God, did you see that this person had Liam Gallagher? Who are you going to go for? Who should we get now?
Get Noel. Totally piss him off. We had a request. So these entrepreneurs now are thinking out of the box, or so are we.
Yeah.
Because if we're not, they're going to go to another luxury planet and go and use somebody else with great ideas. So we're still fighting for work, even with our referral customers, because we've got to keep showing them that we're innovative and we're on it, and guest experience is amazing. So we're in a really good space right now. So we've sort of moved out of paying all our bounce back loans and refunds and blah, blah, blah. I think we're in a safe space. We did really well last year. And this year we've been very careful what we're taking on.
Yeah.
I think that's across the industry though, isn't it? Like the events and
COVID
wedding industry
shook everybody.
Took a massive hit on everybody.
Massive.
Out of everyone, we kind of took like a hit. Like we could not do our jobs.
Yeah.
Like
it was a totally forgotten industry, wasn't it, during that
totally
time?
Forgotten. And I think couples forget that as well. Like we've just come out of like last year was catch up year. Play catch up, say yes to everything, and now everyone's going, actually, do you know what? This is what I want to do. I want to take less on. Suppliers are becoming more expensive because they are taking less on, and it's kind of shook the industry massively.
It has.
But I think clients forget that. Like we're all humans. We all were like, what do we do?
I feel like COVID has made everybody find their place in the market. Like some people
100%.
want to do luxury destination weddings. Some people say, actually, I'm gonna pick up all the hotel, like your mum did back at the start. I'm going to pick up all these ones. It's not to say what's right or wrong, but it's so good that you've managed to say this is what we do, unapologetically. This is what we do.
Correct.
And love it.
And we want to stay there also. And you're right. My mum wouldn't understand the market that I'm in now.
Yeah.
That's not her game. Her game is to have 30 hotel contracts and knock out food every week. Maybe it's 200 weddings a year. That's where she was built. That was her business model. But that's what she enjoyed doing also. So there's everyone sort of supplies another part of the market, because our wedding industry is amazing. It's for everyone.
Yeah. It's
just got to find your niche.
Each other. And I'm like, you realise that I couldn't do all the weddings. There's like billions of weddings.
Chill out.
There's enough business for everyone, isn't there?
There is.
You promote yourself, Georgie, as the people's wedding planner.
Yeah, so I would say we're totally different. Like I'd love to come and do one with you, but if somebody came to me and said, we've got a massive budget, we're going to go to Paris and blah, 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 I'd be like, I can't speak French. Whereas I love the ones...
Learn it quick.
Bonjour, oui. That's it, that's all I need.
Take a crash course.
I mean, I will come to France. But like, I think it's good to... I love a back garden marquee wedding.
Yeah, beautiful.
And that's my niche, and that's okay. Like, I'm good with doing that. And like, you've got to the point now where you're like, I'm only doing this many weddings, and we're super... So I think that's what COVID... The good thing that came from COVID is that everybody kind of figured out who they were.
But for me, we've done that and made the business model what it is now. It's because we've got so much creativity in our team and creative flair. The lower budgets, we can't deliver what we know we can deliver. So that's why we've gone in on the higher budget and said, no, like our skills are getting pushed down.
Yeah.
And we can't work the way we want to work. So
it's a snowball effect. So you do a wedding for, Steve and Joanna, and you've hit a certain standard. And that's been amazing. And you've had a referral from that. Yeah. And then they go on and say, well, how much was that wedding? You say, it's 25K or 30K, whatever it was. But the flowers came from here. This came from here. We did the cutlery and crockery, plate chargers. We had beautiful napkin rings. The tablescaping was gorgeous. And they're like, we'd like to have all that, but we've got a florist that we'd like to use. We could maybe copy some of the stuff. Or I've got someone who does plate chargers. But none of that stuff's going to be the same as your supplier. Yeah, it might be 25% cheaper, but you can't deliver what you did for Joanna, for Sarah, with her suppliers.
Yeah. And a lot of the time they don't turn up.
And then you want me to take the risk of them turning up. Sorry, it's not going to happen.
Not fun.
I think we're a lot stronger in our industry now. To be honest, it's a really nice open discussion that we're having, because I've not had this discussion post-COVID with a lot of planners, although we discussed shitloads before. I was talking to everyone across the planet before, trying to what we're going to do, but now it's really nice to hear. Even when I do speak to my own suppliers, they're saying the same thing. Raj, we've scaled down, we've got loads less overhead, we live in a farmhouse now, I do flowers from it, I'm really happy, but I do what I want to do and I charge the right money for it. It was a real shit show for our wedding industry, but you know what, it's really shook it up, and it's given us something very positive now.
Yes, and I think it weeded out a lot of the shit ones that weren't really interested anyway. So the people that thought, I can't get through this, cool, go and get a different job. If you don't love wedding and events, please don't do it.
Yeah, correct.
Because you can't. It's just like we said, it's not a fun. not a fun gig.
You can't go back to the clipboard again and
J-Lo.
It's
only good at 9 p.m. when you sit back and you go, band's amazing, thank the fuck this is done.
For me, it's when you get the photos back, you're like, yeah, that's killer.
Yeah, okay.
That's why
beautiful.
I do that. Yeah.
So talking of weddings specifically, tell me about your wedding.
Oh, it was a shit show.
Was it?
I don't really want to talk about
you have to.
It was that bad.
Was it? When did you get married?
Oh, it was so bad.
No, it can't be. How?
1995.
Right, so Mum had the business at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we started in 91.
Were there balloons?
There were some balloons, lots of them. So we actually got engaged at the venue in 1994, and then Cheetah, being cool, wanted to wait a whole year to 1995. So we were at the Canary Wharf New Britannia Hotel.
Nice.
Because Mum had the Britannia contracts in the north.
Yeah.
So obviously we got a bit of a deal sort of here in London, because she's London-based, Cheetah, so we had to get married where the bride lives.
Of course.
And yeah, so we basically did the engagement, 250, gorgeous little room, overlooks the Thames. It's stunning engagement.
Yeah.
Fantastic, 200 people. Managed fine. And then the year after, then Sheetal's mum ran off into the sunset, handing cards out everywhere. And then my mum ran off, so excited, these two, because they never thought that me or Sheetal would marry a brown person.
Okay.
She was definitely going down that route, and I was definitely on another planet. So when we were getting married, they were like, oh my God, these two people are actually going to get married. The dream. The mums went bonkers.
We're so proud.
Hand those invites out. So 900 RSVPs came back in.
Jesus.
Do you know what? Even if I paid people, I don't think I could get 900 people at my wedding.
Right? Split it across 3 rooms, because the ballroom sits 600, then a 200 and a 300. 1,400 people turn up.
Shut up.
My uncle's catering, because that was my wife's side's uncle.
So did people RSVP and then
to 900 and then just turned up anyway?
That gives me like heart
palpitations. Because in 1994, 95, a lot of the weddings, especially in the Gujarati community, which is my community, was in school halls. So to have a Gujarati wedding in a hotel was like, oh my God, we're going to walk into a hotel. Wow. It's on Canary Wharf.
Everyone was there. Everyone was coming.
Oh,
we're blagging this. We're wedding crashing this. We're having it.
Wedding crashing.
They did. They came. 1,400 people turned up.
Christ.
I was off the top table. I was in the kitchen trying to serve the food.
No.
My uncle was trying to make more rice. Oh, it was a complete shit show.
That blows my mind, that many people. Like, it scares me. How...
It scared us. I'm used to seeing 1,000 people at an Indian wedding. It's not a problem. But seeing 1,400 and 400 people turn up, unexpected. We're all thinking, oh, that's probably from Sheetal's side. And they're thinking, oh, that's probably from Raj's side.
Do you know people?
No one's got a clue who's there.
I was there.
Yeah. They just wanted to come to this massive wedding in Canary Wharf and not get fed and not get watered.
So how do you deal with that? Does it happen a lot still now?
So it started happening a lot on mainly sort of like the nikahs and the valimas. So it's a very different environment. So to go back to the good, because again, when we talk about brown weddings, we talk about like Pakistani weddings, Gujarati weddings, Hindu Punjabi weddings, Bengali, Sikh. They're all totally different and they've got their own format.
Yeah.
That's why it's so damn complicated.
How long did it take you to learn all the different...
Years.
Yeah.
Years and years and years. But we were lucky because we were event planners for maybe 12 years before we went into food. So we were doing all the cultures, where a lot of the planners at that point were caterers. So if they were a Gujarati caterer, they just stayed in the Gujarati market.
Yeah.
If they were a Pakistani caterer, they just stayed in the Pakistani market. Payal ran it across the board. We learnt a lot. When we opened our kitchens, they were multicultural.
Yeah.
We could cater for all brown people, which sounds a bit crazy, but I don't know how else to say it.
No, that's fine.
So we had Bengalis and Sikhs. So the Gujarati weddings also, you normally have an Indian wedding during the day.
Yeah.
And you get married under the mandap, like the huppa.
Yeah.
And then you have a massive lunch on plastic plates for 1,000 people, buffet.
Yeah.
And then they all go, thank you very much. Here's 10 quid, 15 quid, and they go home. It's done.
Oh,
they don't have a reception.
It's a bit of me, that.
Done. Right? That's a Gujarati wedding. It's unheard of to have a wedding reception.
Okay.
We just had weddings and lunches and see you later. That was easy. And you could have 1,500 people there. More plastic plates, more potato curry, more buffet stations. It's a joke. It's really easy.
Yeah.
So when you put it into a hotel scenario and then try and do a sit-down dinner for 900 after we've had the wedding during the day, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
So we're really breaking the mold.
Yeah.
Now, every single Gujarati wedding across England has a wedding during the day and a reception in the evening.
So this is all your fault.
Probably. I've created more business for myself.
Well done.
Yeah, I know. Good, right?
Do you get a lot of weddings that are trying to do different traditions? Because even with we're obviously more familiar with UK weddings.
Yeah.
So, but even within that, we get people that say, well, I don't want to do a first dance. I don't want to do speeches. So do you have that the same with your weddings where people are like, well, I know this is normal, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And how do you kind of work around that?
Yeah. So it's a little, we were a little bit tied up with our culture.
Yeah.
And our background and what the granny's going to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
so
a family,
it's a bit tricky. So you can't
More
cut out
respect.
certain stuff, and then you can't add in certain stuff.
Okay.
So like cake cuttings were something that we did a bit later on. First dances were a little bit unheard of. Don't touch, don't kiss. Me and Sheetal weren't allowed to sort of snog or have a kiss or anything on the dance floor. Her mum was really strict, so we had to be really careful of that. And then there's just cultural things that go on but it's in each area again.
Yeah.
It's so complicated.
Yeah. And is it kind of set that parents are being involved in this?
So I think COVID's changed that again. Okay. So our numbers went from 5, 6, 7, 800 to 15, 30. It's like, what?
Yeah. And I guess you can't really do those kind of weddings with 15 people.
No. So it sieved everything out.
Yeah.
The parents didn't get involved as much. The kids are earning their own money now.
Yeah.
The kids are now splitting the wedding costs
rather
than just waiting for the bride's father to pay for everything. So that's a big cultural change again.
Yeah.
So the kids are like, listen, you two, you're not inviting Jack. Like, you can invite
You're
10
lucky
of your
you're
mates.
coming.
We're inviting our mates.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it. So now, I think now that the bride and grooms have pure control over the wedding, or a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
On the Asian wedding circuit, it's really good, and the numbers are a lot lower. There's a much more sort of like a balanced environment of a Western wedding now, really, if I can put it like that.
Yeah, because it's so weird, the differences between the weddings, but actually as trends change, they both are still changing, because obviously the Western weddings are starting to go, hold on, I can pay for this. I don't need your input. You're not wearing what you want to wear. You're not inviting who you want to wear. Like, this is my wedding and I'm doing it. So carry on with your shit show of a wedding.
Yeah. No, let's not. I got through it.
Okay, well, would you do it again?
No.
You wouldn't do it?
No. When my daughters get married, I'm going to Lake Como with 150 people.
Wow.
Done.
Nice.
Easy.
Okay.
See you later.
How much involvement will you... Is your daughter actually getting married?
No.
No, okay.
She'll kill me for mentioning it. She just finished a degree.
How
24.
involved will you get? Will you let her do her?
She came and she did work experience for us last
Okay.
year. She ran a project in Paris for us, so
Fine.
she knows exactly what
She
to
knows
do.
the drill.
Yeah, she knows the
Okay.
drill, yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be a little destination thing, definitely.
I know if you say little, 150 people. Little compared to what you normally do.
It was 1,400 in 1995. Give it a rest.
I reckon there's a renewal on the cards. For
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
So tiny bit more about your wedding.
Yeah.
Did you...
He's like,
Hey,
stop.
yeah.
He just put his head down.
You
He's like,
can't come on a
Are we not
wedding
finished now?
podcast. Did you have a lot of pressure about what you did and what you... I know you said about obviously snogging on the dance floor and things, but did
Yeah.
you have a lot of pressure on what you could and couldn't do
Yeah.
from everybody, or is it purely parents?
No, I think, later on we sort of discussed this fusion wedding thing, but it's about respecting each other's side, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Sheetal's side's very much more orthodox, if that's the right word,
Yeah.
a bit more strict, where my mum and I and my father were very, very liberal.
Okay.
Because we were brought up in a very sort of white Jewish area,
Yeah.
but they were brought up in London. It was a very, a dense Indian area.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different. The upbringings were different. Although we both had our roots, both had our culture, both had religion, but our upbringings were slightly different. Although Sheetal was a bit of both, which was a bit weird.
Okay.
That's why I fell in love with her, I think.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just balancing it really between the two, cultures.
I feel like it's changed as well as like the generations have come and
Changed it.
It's
Totally.
changed it completely,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
the kids that are like, hang on a minute, I don't want that for my kids. And
Yeah. I remember what it was like
Yeah.
planning my wedding with
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
mum. I'm going to not be like that.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised still how much of the culture still comes through. So we did a wedding at the Grosvenor a couple of weeks ago for a really trendy guy, big clothing guy, superb person, and his wife also. They're a great Indian wedding, and it was in the Punjabi, but still the cultural things that they wanted to do themselves and go through the ceremony and make sure the ceremony bits were all ticked off correctly was really beautiful.
Yeah.
We streamlined it and we emphasized on it, and we taught the guests in there to listen. Yeah. And like, this is what's going to happen and this is the wedding. But it was really sweet how they wanted to keep some of the traditional things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, to keep their mums and dads happy.
Yeah.
But I think they actually feel like they want to fulfill that as well. Like you see the Jewish weddings, they still do the huppahs, they still go in there, they still get the ceremonies done correctly. They're still quite religious in that way.
Yeah.
Probably religious is the wrong word, but just having a nice traditional wedding.
Traditional. Because I also think
it's nothing to do with religion. Sorry.
It's lucky to have traditions sometimes. Like some people don't have anything that they can kind of do that's really personal to them. So actually being able to utilise those. And like you said, please, Granny. Like I don't think because we obviously, a lot of this podcast is like, you do you, like don't listen to anybody else. But actually, if you're inviting people to your wedding, you want them to have a nice time. Yeah. If by doing this small symbol in the ceremony is going to really mean a lot to 50% of the people here, let's think we're doing it. Like, if it's not like anti what you're doing, then go for it.
Yeah.
So, still obviously continuing about weddings.
Oh, God.
Tell us about the new show.
Oh, this is amazing. It's amazing.
We want all the drama. We want all the gossip. We want to know exactly what you're involved in because last week,
Sarah gave us a bit of an overview of, and I'm guessing actually by the time that this episode airs, I think the first episode will have been out, and therefore people should all be watching this. Right. So we know the kind of premise of the show, but tell us why are you there? Why have they got you on this show, and what's the role?
I've heard you like to shout at people. I'm not sure if that's correct.
I don't shout.
Just speak loudly.
Just speak loudly. Shout. Yeah, I just need to look at them.
Oh, you've got it. You just looked at it. Are you scared? The eyebrow raised.
Yeah, it's like I need to look at them, and they're like, oh my God, sorry. Raj is upset. Oh shit, we've done something wrong. I think the biggest thing is that after Big Fat Asian Wedding, which I loved doing that show, and we thought it was going to go to series and it didn't, which is totally fine. Channel 4, fine. But that was based on my weddings and showing back of house.
Yes.
Okay, that's what. And I made sure, because ITV made the show and they sold it to Channel 4, and I said to ITV, I said, listen, you can do this show, but I'm not editing, I'm not rewinding, I'm not resetting.
You also can't with it. I guess it's the same for this show. You can't be like midway through the actually, hold on one second, our camera's
cut the
cake
again. No, it's someone's wedding. Like, you're joking. So I remember fighting with a couple of cameramen at Blenheim Palace because we did 4 weddings across the country. This was with a Big Fat. And it was amazing. And then we delivered a really beautiful product where it was back of house. You really saw what on behind the scenes. And I wanted to show it fully because it's really, as you guys know, it's really hard work.
It's hard work and magical all at the same time. It's weird.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. And
you're like, how the hell did we just do that?
Right? It's like really weird. So then I got offered I got offered cameo roles here and another TV show here and a wedding fixer program here on Channel 5 and this, that and the other. And then when they approached us, I think it must have been 3 years ago.
Okay.
Because COVID trashed it a little bit again.
So you're all right by COVID. I hate it.
Is anyone all right about COVID? Anyway, but there was a positive from it, I suppose, wasn't there, right? So I keep thinking about that. And then so they got approached and they said, what is it? And they said, like, we want to use your knowledge really of being a judge. And I thought, it's the first time none of the TV companies actually wanted to use my content. Because as we're going through the years, we're getting bigger and higher flying guys, and they don't want anyone to know what they're doing, really.
Yeah.
Right? It goes in the paper now and again, but really they don't want anyone to know that they're spending this on a party and sitting on a boat in Saint-Tropez and all that.
They don't need the credit, do they?
No, thanks. And Raj, you know where you're bringing cameras here.
Yeah.
Well, they do fabulous stuff and we want to show it, but there's no way they're going to show it, so I could not get content. But this was without content. This was my knowledge.
Yeah.
This is basically a bit of mentoring.
Yeah.
Getting kids through, showing them what they can and can't do, and then hopefully they become amazing planners from it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So win. So I was like, I'm in on this.
Yeah.
Did all the usual, VTs. I would like to be the judge, blah, blah, blah. And there were supposed to be 2 or 3 planners at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Then they decided that there was only going to be 1, and then COVID stopped the whole project for 12 months again.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember where we are now, but maybe a year or so ago, I got a call saying, look, it's still back on. We really like you. but we're thinking of having someone else, which was obviously Fred and Zara.
Nice dream team.
Which I didn't know about. And I said we want to actually mix it up a little bit and not have 3 planners because it could be quite boring. And then then we went through the concept. And to be honest, as we, BBC Studios and we talked about the concept, and I talked about the wedding industry because they don't really have a clue about weddings as such.
Yeah.
We were sort of building the show, and I was explaining really how we could put this show together and how we can have the contestants go through it and about the design and experience and this, that, and the other. So we really built the show together, which was amazing. So they used all our knowledge of 30 years in the wedding industry, but also used all their TV knowledge of making a show really, attainable for someone to watch. Right? If you want to watch it, it's fun. But you can watch a back of house of any wedding and it's fun.
Yeah.
So it's like,
just get a waitress.
Not many people are going to show it, but it is fun, right? There's the shit happening all the time. On every wedding.
Definitely.
So anyway, that's why I loved the show. And I just thought this is a total win-win. I don't need to give my content. Yeah. I can give my knowledge. I love being on TV anyway.
Yeah.
Love going back of house. I love training people up. I want everyone to become wedding planners who wants to become one.
Yeah.
And really show them what the real job is about.
Did anybody start doing it and then think, I don't want to do it? Did anybody leave an episode without being kicked off an episode? You're not allowed to tell us anyway, are you? I reckon
lots
I've
of juice. So it was really, really interesting, to have sort of 8 rookies.
Yeah.
And then just see how they're going to perform, and then so it was more of a judgy, mentory sort of role, but the TV show's dynamite.
Yeah. So
totally.
Let's assume that listeners have seen episode 1.
Yeah.
What are you hoping that they see you doing? What's your kind of? Are you there to stir it all up, or are you there to sort of encourage them to try other things? How kind of involved are you getting in their actual planning?
What really annoys me is that when they are pitching to our bride and groom, so they're there to supersize their wedding in 5 days with 10 grand from BBC.
Yeah.
Let's just put
Thank
that
you,
there
BBC.
a minute. Thank you. So it's like they are spending somebody else's money to supersize this bride and groom's wedding or bride and bride's wedding or whatever we've got going on in 5 days' time. So then they'll commit to certain things on the wedding day and they'll say, yeah, we're going to do this for you. We're going to do that. We're going to have this, that, and the other. But then sometimes they might under-deliver on those promises.
Yeah.
And that's when I have to step in because I don't sell something to them that you're then not going to deliver upon it.
Yeah.
This is their freaking wedding day.
That's the biggest thing that pisses me off.
Yeah.
Come on.
People that overpromise and underdeliver. It's like,
We say that all the time, don't we? Right?
Literally, you just can't. People are wired. I think event planners and wedding planners, and if you're in this industry, you're wired completely different. Like
totally.
I don't care if it's got fallen apart, we fix it. There is
totally.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Our competitors, don't they do that?
Yeah, well, I love that a lot of my weddings that I do are coordinating, and people don't really know what it is, and I don't really tell them about it until the day, and then they're like, holy shit, this is awesome. I'd rather they not know anything.
Yep.
And then...
Bingo.
It's all 50 times better than what they thought it was going to be. I can't imagine being a bride and then being like, oh, we're going to sort this out for you, and then on the day I'm like, cool, where is it? And they're like, oh, sorry, didn't do it. Did you have many times where you had to step in and go mad at somebody?
So it gradually got better.
Okay.
I don't know if you were going to say gradually got worse or better.
No, because we're also there to mentor.
Yeah.
We were there to judge 100%. So we were judging on their actions, and they soon got to realise through the series that they can't keep bullshitting us every week and saying, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're like, look at me again in the eye. And they're like, no, maybe we won't do that. Maybe we'll just do this. So as I'm getting into, they've only got 3-day build. So it's like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday's the wedding.
Yeah.
So as they're building this, they've started taking things out. They just got better and better.
Yeah.
And you can see the progression.
Show as well, isn't it? Like you've got to
It's
learn how
amazing.
to do the show, but equally... You still got to do it. It's still a wedding. You can't redo it.
No.
And I think that's what's the beauty of the show is it's actually someone's wedding day.
Yes.
It's not staged. It's not fake.
No.
It's someone's wedding day.
It's not.
And I feel like that's where you might step in a bit more and be like, this is actually someone's day. You can't mess it up.
Consistently. And I kept putting that point forward. This is not just some contest show you're on just to get a bit of publicity. You're actually messing around with somebody's wedding on Saturday. So please don't do you can't do this. So when things were going and the shit was hitting the fan, yes, I did step in because what they promised to the bride and groom was not what they were delivering upon.
I was going to say, how often did you have to step in? How often did you have to fix stuff? A lot. Then I'll take that as a big fat all the time.
There's in our game there are so many moving parts, and they don't get it.
You only learn the moving parts. And I promise you, I was going to say, once it's gone wrong once, I'm like, cool, awesome, that's never happening again.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But it's not the sort of job where you can,
No.
you have
There's
to
no
do
rule
it.
book, is there?
You
No.
have to do it.
Sometimes you can't teach the problems because you don't know the problems.
No, God.
And you'll only learn them on the weddings, and it's somebody's wedding.
Horrible.
But that's why we wing it and we get away with it. And the swan's there at the front, but the legs are going crazy underneath. I know it's a really simple scenario, but that's what happens on all weddings.
Yeah, it's little things. Like I just think the couple should never know anything. And I've worked with suppliers before that will go directly to them and I'm like, don't speak to them.
Yeah.
Don't tell them anything.
Yeah.
Like we've had stuff gone wrong. We work at weddings quite a lot together. Stuff gone wrong and we're like, cool, we're never going to tell them that. Like literally. And they'll never know.
Correct.
Never know. That's
Correct. And you'll
job
never make that
one.
mistake again, though.
Yeah. Yeah,
A lot of the
The
time,
simple
it's
things.
just sometimes it's out of your hands as well, and
Yeah.
you're just like you're all working towards that end goal, and it's trying to pick up the pieces from other people and other suppliers, and you're just like, right, we're here for the long run.
Did you know who was going to win the show? Like Sarah on her episode, the people she thought was going to win
Didn't
were
win.
not.
Totally changed.
Did you know?
Yeah,
Did you think they're
totally.
brilliant?
I thought I'd know from the beginning.
Really?
Being Mr. Wedding Planner
Yeah,
and all.
yeah.
Honestly, totally wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like you can spot like eventees
You can-
straight away. Like
Yeah.
you can kind of see the energy,
Yeah.
their problem solving. You can see it straight off the
Yeah.
bat. But were you wrong?
No,
But the thing is, when you
totally.
then go on a TV
Crazy.
show, you are going to be. I feel like it would take a couple of weeks to warm up to what's happening.
Yeah.
So
It's scenarios that they went through, and
Yeah.
I think then certain people came through and certain people didn't, and you're like, shit, that was good.
I didn't think you
Thought you were
gonna
going
be
home
good.
week one.
So, what is the juiciest thing
Ooh.
you can tell us about the show? And we want it to be juicy. No PG in
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
We want the juice and we want it good.
I can't.
Is there
say
juice from
anything.
episode 1? Because I feel like episode 1's out. Like, what? Give us more. Give us some of the stuff that didn't make it into episode 1.
What's the biggest? There's just so many scenarios. Honestly, it's a consistent shit show as you go through it. And
Do
then
the
there's things that
couples-
magical things that happen as well. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh my god, that was so cool.
Do the couples know about the shit show? Or are they they
No.
genuinely still have a great day?
Yeah,
Was there any point where you were like,
What am I doing?
we're
this?
very lucky,
Why?
At certain points, we're
Go on,
very
why?
lucky.
close call?
I can't say anything, but at certain points, we're very lucky.
Was there any points you were like, what on earth has just happened? Why am I here? Why have I been a part
What
of
did you
this?
say? What was the beginning part of that question?
Was there ever a point when you
Was
thought
there ever a point? Are you taking
Was
the piss?
Sorry, did you consistently feel like everything
That's
was
more
falling
like
apart?
it. You guys would have just been pulling your hair out
Well, I think
because you can't do anything.
No, I
got
think
to
I
watch
applied
it.
for the show. I'm sure that years ago I
Yeah.
applied for the show, and it obviously, spoiler alert, didn't make it, guys. I don't think I would have liked it. I don't think I would have done well. I was saying to Sarah, like, I'm probably like you. I like to run it.
Yeah.
If I'm not in charge, I don't want to be involved.
Don't know. Yeah.
But I don't know how you would have got on working.
No, I think there's so many elements to the show as well, which is like you've got to be you look at sustainability, you look at budget, you look at teamwork, you look at creativity, you look at all of that
Yeah.
in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Was it hard to judge the people? Because obviously you can look at them and be like, well, I like that person, but actually they've done a really
Yeah.
bad job there. Was it hard to get rid of
It's
people?
hard. So if you two are working together, for example, on one particular area, it's like who's shining here and who's not. Whose idea really
I'm
was
shining.
it?
Blame Georgie.
Bless you. Bless you. You just want to put charger plates everywhere and hope for the best.
So it's really tricky. And the other tricky thing is for them, it's a contest. Obviously, they want to win.
Yes.
But
Do people throw each other under the bus?
oh, of course they do.
Did you see through any of that? Were you like, yeah, you're just
it comes through. You can see it.
I'm very excited.
So the other interesting thing is that I kept reminding them also about somebody's wedding, is that if you're on one of these other shows like Bake Off or Apprentice or whatever, and you're in a contest show, the most important part there is like you need to sell so many goods and impress Alan Sugar, for example, and then if you don't, you get fired and it's done. You didn't sell.
Yeah.
You sold, I don't know, 20% less stock. No one's hurt. these guys, if they make a mistake, they might get fired in the boardroom, but you could ruin somebody's wedding.
And they're putting their businesses on the line here as well, aren't they? Like, they are putting their reputation on the line, because I ain't going to hire whoever was really bad.
It's a total lose.
Yeah.
Right? So they're really putting their heads, like, they're really putting their sort of like neck on, they're really putting their necks on the line right now. God. Like, in every department, like with their business, their own income, this contest, somebody's wedding, and me over their shoulder. And then you've got Fred and Zara, who's got a... Fred's savage.
You're rubbish. That's
You're
crap.
rubbish. See you later.
Come on.
Fred is savage.
Is he?
He's a perfectionist. That's why he's so good at what he does.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, God.
To be fair, people say it. My team say I'm so savage. But it's because I know what can be delivered.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are scary. You're quite scary.
They just need to learn how to do that, don't they?
The thing is, though, no one will ever do it as well as you. And I think that's the one thing that you'll never... you can't duplicate you. Just can't do it.
Can't. And you've seen stuff for 30 years and you know what's going to happen. And you're like, shit.
Yeah. Shit. You're all fucked. Never mind. So, of your 30 years, I want your top 3 tips for fusion weddings.
For fusion
How to
weddings.
nail a fusion wedding.
I think I've thought about this fusion wedding thing, and I think it's communication.
Okay.
I think you need to communicate correctly. I think you need to balance both sides of the family out to make sure that you're sort of doing things for both sides and not being one-sided.
Yeah.
I think probably that comes back down to communication again. And then, I keep saying, again, it's sort of communication, respect, and, balancing.
I guess respect is a massive one, isn't it, actually?
It's just respecting both sides. Like, and the problem that we have with fusion weddings now, it's not that it's a brown person and a white person anymore. It's like a Bengali guy marrying, a Sikh guy.
Yeah.
2 totally different religions, 2 totally different grandmas who really don't want this to happen.
Yeah.
So this is a massive conflict right now. This has been going on for about 5 to 10 years now. It's really, really tricky, but I put it down to communicating, really.
Yeah.
And being respectful for each side. And you know what we did? I think one of the Blenheim weddings we did on the Big Fat was an English groom and an Indian bride, Gujarati bride. And it was so sweet because the English side was so intrigued with certain things, right?
That. I've said to my couples before, because I've done a few fusion weddings, and they're like, we don't know whether to do that. I'm like, if I'm coming to a part Indian wedding, I bloody want to learn some stuff about it.
Yeah.
I think they're mega. They're so much better than
but I think equally, other cultures want to see what the Western weddings do. Why are they cutting their cake?
They'd be like, this is a bit boring.
No, we did it that day. So we did... I can't remember whether we did the civil first or whether, in the orangery, or whether we did the Indian wedding, but we did one and then we did the other. But, Dad was wearing, the Indian dad, he was wearing like his Indian outfit for the Indian wedding, and then he dressed up in top hat and tails and had his,
Nice.
he had
nice.
his buttonhole on,
Yeah.
and he just looked fantastic, and he walked his bride down with a white dress. Like we all both love all these different things that go on. It's really sweet that we can respect each side.
Embrace it.
Yeah, that's the right
and
word.
thoroughly enjoy it as well, because it is so intriguing.
I love doing ones that are a bit different. I love it when there's some sort of elements that you've got to try and add in, and we're like, cool, well, where's this going to fit? Like Chinese tea ceremonies and things like that. Like, right, it's going to take an hour, and I'm like, when am I going to put this? Okay, it's fine. Like, just I think, a great tip is like just embrace it. Let everybody do what they want to do. Let's figure out how to logistically make it work. But
we're a little bit sick in the head though, because we like complicated, unnecessary stuff. It's like we love that drug. The endorphins that happen from that, and the adrenaline that happens. Like, how are we going to coordinate these two sides now? What's going to happen? Like, when you go and do a normal straight wedding,
you're like,
2 browns or 2 whites, we're like, oh god,
boring.
here we go again. Yeah, so I have to do it. See ya.
I'll be in bed for this one.
Yeah.
So we end every episode with a bitches from a bride.
Go on.
So we have
Love
a little
this.
bitch. My own close family are imposing their expectations on our fusion wedding. Can you help? It's fusion for a reason and they can't understand. How do we make sure that it's fair? And how do we include everything we want to include in one short day?
Wow. So their in-laws are interfering with it.
So I think
like...
from seeing who messaged, I think she's Indian and he's English.
And who's putting the influence on it?
Both, I assume. Oh no, my own close family, so Indian family.
Yeah, you see, this is.
But how do you respectfully say, I don't want to do that?
And hire a planner.
And then you tell them.
Yeah. You know what? We've been ACAS for so many families across the years, like, and balanced it correctly, because it's really nice to have a planner in the middle who sort of like really respectfully sort of manages to juggle both sides of the family.
You can't fit it in a day. Like, I could totally see why people do 2 weddings.
Yeah.
Like total weddings, please everybody. But if budget doesn't allow for that, how do you fit it all into one day?
Yeah, you've got to compromise it.
Yeah.
You have to. How do you do that? Gosh, it's just down to sitting down and talking, and like saying, listen, this is what we would like to do. This is what we would like to do. We can't do all.
Yeah.
Maybe
but
pick
should
like
we do a bit of this
top
and a bit of
3?
this and a bit of this and a bit of this, and we'll compromise it.
Yeah.
But the thing is as well, I've noticed that, unfortunately, I've planned weddings for 18 months sometimes, and the stress has been so much for the bride and groom that they broke up.
Yes.
They never made it.
Yeah.
And the whole point of this is that these 2 beautiful people fell in love, and because of stupid cultures and stubborn
rules.
People and this, that, and the other, they never finally made it to their wedding day.
It's horrible. I've
They're
seen it
heartbroken,
happen.
and they'll never get married again properly. They'll never love a person again properly. So, a message out to everyone out there: leave the bride and grooms alone. Let them just do what they want to do, and just follow that suit.
Yeah.
Please.
Nice.
Please.
I like that.
Yeah.
Love it. Is there anything else that we need to know about you or the show, or anything you want to tell everyone listening that you think is super important?
Not really. I'm hoping that people, even wedding planners, bride and grooms, I hope they learn from the show.
Yeah.
I've tried to put, I think the most important thing on the planet right now in our game is guest experience.
Yes.
100%.
Right? So we're going through this wedding, we're going to another wedding, we're going to have chicken, we're going to have a glass of champagne, we're going to have a first dance. It's boring to death.
Yeah.
We need guest experience. So we're really pushing that on the show.
Yeah.
And then ideas like Sarah's amazing with craft. Like, you don't need to spend a shitload of cash to have an amazing wedding, right? So it's just picking up on those bits, but we want people to enjoy the day.
Yes.
So, and you want their guests to have a great time.
Yeah, otherwise elope. Like, if you don't care about what everybody else
Don't
thinks about
bother.
the day, go off the 2 of you. You'll have a much better time. But
Yeah.
if you're going to invite people, let's show them how to have a good time.
100%.
Definitely. Thank you so much for coming
Oh,
on
you're
our
welcome.
Thank you.
podcast.
We,
and,
we look forward to seeing you next week on the
Yeah.
TV.
We're
And
going to keep up.
hopefully he'll be shouting a little bit.
Yes, I can't wait to see the drama
You'll
and
see my
rage.
looks.
Amazing. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. Thank you for having me on.
Bye.